You either have to vote for Kamala or Putin. Who do you choose?
Oh, definitely Putin.
Putin.
Really? Why?
Absolutely. He's for his people. He is for his people.
Would you rather vote for VP Harris or Vladimir Putin if you had to choose?
I would actually vote for Putin if I had to, for the simple reason, if you understand Marxism and communism, you can work within it.
Yeah, Putin's values on family and on traditions and, protecting children. It almost sounds like, I'm not a pro-Putin guy.
So you think the country would be better off under a rule like a Kim Jong-un or somebody, or Vladimir Putin?
Hey, I love Russia.
You do? Why?
Yeah, it's beautiful. The people are wonderful.
I'm not a fan of Putin, but Kamala is for communism and taking our whole entire...
It's going to be a tough one, but what's your definition of communism? I just want to know.
I believe, it starts off great. I see how people can be attracted to it, like, oh, everybody's even.
And Russia has always been the antithesis of what America stands for. I mean, Russia hates the West. They want to undermine our values. So what does Kamala Harris do that makes her worse than Putin? Genuine question.
Because she's a socialist.
It's almost like a trap. Once they get you trapped, you become one of their drones, and it leads to totalitarianism.
Once they get you trapped, you become one of their drones. The lack of self-awareness right there, the fact that this guy is lapping up Russian propaganda but thinks other people are drones is absolutely hilarious, and it shows the success of Russian propaganda. I mean, Vladimir Putin is probably salivating right now seeing that average American citizens think he's the good guy in this situation. That's why I want to showcase this absolutely perfect takedown of Russian talking points done on live television. This MAGA pro-Russia stooge right here has written multiple books about why Russia is better than Ukraine, why Russia is in the right, and he tries to spew disinformation on the Piers Morgan show, but Anastasiya, over here on the right side of the screen, who lives in Ukraine, who has been on the ground experiencing the invasion since day one, who has been fighting back to protect her own country, which she cares about, proceeds to perfectly dog walk this dude. Not only explain why he's wrong, but then say, dude, how much are you getting paid? You're spewing Russian talking points only in English. So it's a perfect takedown. And just to lay the groundwork really quickly, he starts to spread fake information about the Euromaidan protests that happened in Ukraine in 2014. These protests were a massive turning point for Ukraine because the Ukrainian citizens took to the streets to protest and demand closer ties with Europe. They wanted to be closer with the West and the US, and they wanted to reject Russia's influence. Now, this made Russia mad, and that's why Russia went on a rampage over the next decade. But here's the Russian narrative. And here's the narrative that this guy tries to push, this Russian stooge. He tries to claim that the Euromaidan protests were only a US-backed coup designed to undermine Russia. This is a talking point that has been repeated endlessly by Kremlin stooges to delegitimize Ukraine's fight for independence, delegitimize their sovereignty. So now that you know the context, let's watch Anastasiya absolutely tearing this guy a new one.
The coup had already blown up in their face in the loss of Crimea. All right. So they weren't about to tolerate this kind of dissent in the East. It's not Russian propaganda. I'm a Texan. I don't even read Russian or know what the Russians say about this stuff.
Oh,
this
sure,
is the history of the world as
I
it took
speak
place.
Russian. That's my...
About that was because the coup had already... The reason they did that was on behest. We know this. It was reported in Forbes. John Brennan went there on April 12th. They launched the war on the 14th. And the reason they did that was because the coup had already blown up in their face in the loss of Crimea. Right. So they weren't about to tolerate this kind of dissent in the East. It's not Russian propaganda. I'm a Texan. I don't even read Russian or know what the Russians say about this stuff.
Oh,
this is the history of the world as it took place.
I speak Russian. That's my...
That's
yes.
fine. Listen,
can I please interject with that?
Well, let me just say right here. Anytime anyone contradicts the party line on this, that's all anyone ever says is that this is Russian propaganda. But that's just a bunch of crap.
Because it is.
They're plagiarizing me.
You repeated it in
and
English.
I'm just speaking the truth.
Are you getting money or not? I'm just wondering,
break, lady.
At least they pay you.
That really is all you have, because you can't contradict any of my facts, so you have to come up with this nonsense. I can contradict
everything you said. I participated
the reality is,
in Maidan.
No one in America cares about Russia at all, lady. Nobody in America cares about Russia. Back in the days of communism, there were
Pierce,
communists that did.
can I please have a word? This person spoke quite a bit. We had given him a rooper to repeat Russian talking points and lies, blatant lies. So, you know,
okay, well, Scott, let Anna just respond to what you were saying, Scott. I'm interested to hear her response.
A lot of bullshit was said, so it's kind of difficult to counter everything. Basically, it was not a coup. It was a revolution that millions of people participated in. The reason we participated, me included, I was 19 back in the day, it was because we had severe problems with corruption and a tyrannical puppet of Russia, Yanukovych, who refused to make a treaty with the European Union, which is what most of the people in Ukraine wanted, 60-something%, and especially younger people wanted to move away from Russian control, from Russians owning every single business industry in my country, and to have some sort of like laws and order, and also have some sort of democracy and liberty that is what something people have in the West, and that's something that we did not have. So that was about, a revolution was about that, about students going and protesting and getting beaten up, and Yanukovych then going to Russia to essentially ask Putin, his buddy, how can he stop the protesters, which he then made dictator laws that prohibited people to effectively protest at all in this country. So we didn't appreciate that, and we went. Literally millions of people participated in Maidan. That is not a coup. That is not something you buy for Obama or Nuland cookies. I'm sorry to say, never received a single cookie yet. It's been a long time. And yeah, all of that, when going to Georgia is a whole other thing, but that's just what Russia does. It creates unrest. It supports militias in the countries, and then it basically floods them with weapons, and it also applies its own soldiers to annex territory by the guise of protecting Russian speakers or any of that. Scott is a master, I believe Scott is the name, right? Here, but I am a Russian speaker from Eastern Ukraine. It's about as east as it gets in Kharkiv, and I didn't require their protection. I was never prosecuted. What they did is that they attacked us under the guise of protecting Russian speakers that was never prosecuted in this country.
Absolutely, incredibly well said. And I have a few takeaways. First of all, there needs to be a term for this thing that pro-Russia people do where they'll spread Russian talking points verbatim, and then when you call them out for that, they say, oh, you say everything's a Russian talking point. You think everything is Russian propaganda. No. Not everything, just everything that you're saying, man, because he was spewing Russian propaganda verbatim. But Anastasiya points out just reality here. The Euromaidan protests weren't some US-backed conspiracy theory. They try to point to one specific phone call to draw this grand conspiracy, but no. The Euromaidan protests were grassroots movements fueled by ordinary Ukrainians, people like Anna right here, who were just fed up with corruption and wanted to live in a more democratic country. She also highlights how these Russian narratives are designed to strip Ukrainians of their agency, which is incredibly true. But again, the Russian propaganda being spread across all channels right now is absolutely terrifying. Even if we put this Piers Morgan episode aside, Tucker Carlson has been tweeting out Russian propaganda for months now, but check out this absolutely absurd video that he posted recently that Ryan Macbeth debunked. Any Ryan Macbeth fans in the audience here?
Tucker Carlson is lying.
American military personnel launched missiles into mainland Russia.
So here's why this is a lie. There's basically this Russian narrative that Ukrainians are so provincial and stupid that they don't have the mental ability to launch ATACMS missiles. Therefore, Americans must be firing those missiles. Let me tell you something. I have met 13 Mikes before. If a 19-year-old with an anime car rap can successfully navigate HIMARS training, a Ukrainian who's been fighting for 3 years can do it as well. Now, has the United States given ISR, or intelligence surveillance reconnaissance data, to Ukraine so that Ukraine can perform targeting more effectively? I would say that's likely. I served as an infantryman for 20 years. I deployed to combat. I know that lies can endanger the force protection status of our American soldiers. And right now, Tucker, you are endangering the lives of American soldiers. You are no patriot. And I really hope this was worth your ego boost.
Ryan Macbeth is always very, very solid. And dude, I'm going to be 100% honest. We are fighting an uphill battle with Russian propaganda. It's invisible, it's everywhere online, and it seeps into narratives that you wouldn't even think. I mean, Russian propaganda doesn't even try to spread stuff about Ukraine. They try to spread anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, racism, misogyny. They want all sections of America to hate each other and to fight so that they don't have to waste money invading us. We just tear ourselves apart from the inside. I'll leave you with that. Drop a like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Love you and peace out.